Good people, what is going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. Please like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. Out for a walk. It is warmer today in Michigan, but it's been raining, so it's just kind of weird. It's like it's supposedly like about 50 degrees or something like that, but it's been raining most of the day. It's starting to dry up a bit, but still not like warm. But anyway, um, wanted to jump on and talk a little bit about Shedeur Sanders and the feedback that has been going on about his interviews and his media session at the NFL Combine. There was some some feedback that he just seemed really arrogant and cocky. There was also some talk and feedback that McShay had said that essentially he was acting like himself in interviews, that he was acting the same way he does any other time when he's in media session in the interviews with the teams. And it took some people the wrong way. And there's a part of me that I do get it. You want to it's a really big job interview. The you could argue the biggest in the world. Because even if you're trying to interview for like a CEO position of, a Fortune 500 company, you're probably already like a CFO or a CMO. You run the marketing team or something like that at a company already. So you have a bit of an equivalent position, still a promotion, but this is something totally different. You're going from a college kid, which granted you do have NIL funds, things like that, but I mean, once you get drafted and you sign your name as a, let's say, a top five pick, I mean, those signing bonuses are usually in the $20 million range, if I'm recalling correctly. So that's a bit bigger than a $1 million NIL deal, $2 million NIL deal. It's some significant money that you're getting from the strokes from signing your name just one time for that contract. But the thing that I kind of get annoyed with is we kind of dance around it, and I don't think we need to. It is specifically when it comes to the NFL draft and specific to the NFL Combine. There is a lens that black quarterbacks are looked at through that white quarterbacks are not looked at through. It just is what it is. There is the when you're the black quarterback, you have to be super humble, which I do understand. If your thought process is I want all of my quarterbacks to be humble, cool. I'm good with that. But we had the Justin Fields, criticism, and whatever you want to say about Justin Fields, you say, well, he didn't turn out to be great. He stinks, whatever, blah blah blah. But somehow he was being pushed down draft boards for no real reason. I mean, he was one of two guys leading the charge to have football in 2020 for the entire country. The Big Ten, Kevin Warren wanted to shut it down. Let's not play football. Let's not do it. We don't think it's safe, even though there's other conferences that are going to play football and think it's safe enough. We're going to shut it down. Justin Fields led that charge so that football could be played in the Big Ten. Now, he had a pretty darn good team that he was with, but nonetheless, it still is what it is. So if you're looking for leadership qualities, holy cow. I mean, I think that's pretty good. Lamar Jackson. We had Bill Polian, who does not work in a front office, but somehow every time this scenario comes up, we find a way to put a microphone in his face. It's telling us that Lamar Jackson should play wide receiver in the NFL. Although he's never played wide receiver in high school, never played it in college, played quarterback in college, won the Heisman Trophy in college. He literally won the best player award in college in the ACC, which it's not the premier conference by any stretch, but it's a real conference. And Lamar Jackson didn't win that award, right, with Eric Crouch statistics, which no disrespect to Eric Crouch, the man was a baller, but his stats were more like a running back than they were a quarterback. I mean, he rushed for 2,000 yards and I'm not even sure. Did he throw? I don't think he threw for 2,000 yards. So, I mean, it was clear he's just running the ball and he's getting it a lot. Not that. No, we want him to play wide receiver. And the craziest example of this is actually Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence was in interviews, and I'm sorry, this wasn't even an interview. This was available to the media, and I actually did a video on this multiple times. But in the NFL, it is said time and time and time again. We want our guys to eat, sleep, drink football. That is it. With the other stuff, extracurricular, that is got to be secondary, low secondary. Yeah, I want this to be the main thing, the only thing that you think about every day. If you've ever listened to Shannon Sharp when he talks about it as far as his career and what he did, he said he sacrificed a lot. He said he wasn't the best dad because literally every he missed recitals, he missed dance, he missed baseball, he missed all of that stuff with his kids and his partners because he was so singularly focused on football. I would imagine if you polled all 32 GMs of the NFL, they would say, I would love for every person on my 53-man roster to do it just like that. I would love that. And what Trevor Lawrence said was, football's not the end all be all for me. I mean, yeah, I could do it, but it's not like this is my life. And that guy got drafted number one. Trevor Lawrence was drafted number one. And I would say by number one quarterback standards, he hasn't been great. Has not been great. He did win the playoff game. That was pretty darn impressive. Getting the Jags to the playoffs was impressive. Winning a playoff game, impressive. As impressive as that game was, it was literally a tale of two halves. Like, literally, he was awful in the first half, threw 4 interceptions, five, I think, four. And then in the second half, they came back and won the game. You get credit for winning. You get credit for that. But this is a guy that everybody's kind of looking at like, hey, man, this is supposed to look a little bit different. My point is, how does Trevor Lawrence get away with saying that? And if you want to say, well, he was just that great of a prospect, okay, sure, I can understand. But what I will also say is every quarterback who gets drafted number one or first round of the NFL draft, they're not all capable of of just rising above all of the chaos within the building. They're not all capable of it. Most of them are not. I would say, geez, if you give me 100 quarterbacks that are drafted in the first round, I won't even give you 10 because I think even some of the best quarterbacks in our game today would not be who they were if they went to bad organizations. I think there's an aspect of it, like Patrick Mahomes. I think he's terrific. I think he was going to be pretty darn good in the league no matter what. I think the fact that he came into the league, into a good team, a good organization, a good head coach, a stable place, I think that helps. But if you're telling me if he goes to the Giants and is just tossed in there like, hey, go ahead and do it, I think what probably happens is he continues his gunslinger ways that he did at Texas Tech, throws for a ton of yards, throws a bunch of picks, and probably doesn't have the postseason success that he's had in his career. Because you need to be taught, you need to be coached in order to be successful in the NFL. Most of these guys, like the defensive coordinators, the athletes on defense are just too freaking good for you to think they're just going to come out here and just start throwing the ball all around. That's why we look at the C.J. Stroud and the Jaden Daniels seasons as so special. Jaden Daniels even more so of getting to the NFC Championship game. But that's why we look at them as so special because the defenses are so good. The D coordinators are so good. And that's why you see consistently, right? The sophomore slump. Why is it? It's not because guys don't work hard and they're in the off season of their going into their second year. It's not because these guys get worse going into their second year. It's because these defensive coordinators are that freaking good. They get all the film that you've got 16, 17, 18 games, possibly of film, and they study that. They find out the things that you like. Oh man, does this guy really like a post route? And you really like post curl? You really like, these different combos? We're gonna take those away. We're gonna make him beat us in a different way. Oh, he doesn't like pressure on front side, pressure backside. We're gonna bring a lot of A gap blitzes. We're gonna bring, so on and so forth. Can we disguise him? What coverage is he best against? Cool. He's great against cover two. We're gonna run more cover three, one high, so on and so forth. So that's why those types of things happen. So to me, like I said, at the end of the day, I don't think it matters that much where Shedeur goes. I think the most important thing is, do you have the infrastructure in that building to coach and develop a quarterback? Can you put tools around him to help him be successful? Just have enough around him to be successful. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I think he'll be just fine in the NFL, but it's got to be that the fit's got to work. If he goes to the Titans, I don't think any quarterback is going to succeed if you go to the Titans. That's just me. I don't think they have the infrastructure. We will see, but I don't think they have. I don't think they have it together. Cleveland Browns. I don't think they've got it together. I think the coaching staff is there to the level that you need to be successful, but I don't think that front office is. It's chaos, absolute chaos. New York Giants. I saw Joe Shane on Hard Knocks. That didn't look like a leader of men to me. That didn't look like a guy you take seriously. Dable, I think, is a pretty good coach, but uh, who knows? I mean, Malik Neighbors is a really good player, but he ain't gonna be able to do everything by himself. So we'll see. But like I said, I just don't. We don't need to tiptoe around it. It just is what it is. Until that residue gets removed from people's brains, um, it's just going to be that. I mean, somehow the world convinced themselves that Zach Wilson was a better player than Justin Fields. Zach Wilson, who was okay at BYU, and Justin Fields, who was dominant at Ohio State. Somehow, Zach Wilson is better than Justin Fields. I mean, you tell me. I don't know. So that's my thought on it. Like I said, it's not a huge deal. We just need to stop dancing around it. That just is what it is. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who gets drafted, where. Do you have the infrastructure to help a young quarterback develop, to help him be successful? And honestly, most of the teams in the NFL don't have it. That's why a lot of these teams are drafting super high. Caleb was a can't miss prospect, generational. He couldn't get it done. They were what, 8-9, 9-8, something like that, and he didn't look great in his rookie year. Why? Well, Matt Eberflus was his head coach. Didn't have a shot before he was dead in the water as soon as he started. So we'll see how things go now with Ben Johnson. He was a great play caller, and we'll see how he is as a head coach. But it, that's what we need to look at more so than just the draft spot of this guy. Whoever it is, Shedeur, Cam Ward, Tyler Shuck, Jackson Dart, who is developing these guys? Who do you have as your quarterbacks coach? Who do you have as your offensive coordinator? Who's your head coach? Who's the GM? Right? Is your owner, is he getting in the way of stuff? Is he meddling? Because if so, you're probably in trouble. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate it. Peace.